When we arrived at the mansion, I felt it immediately. Pressure, not physical, but close enough that my chest tightened anyway. The gate alone carried it, a suffocating weight of anger and resentment, thick enough that it clung to the air like humidity before a storm. The closer we got to the front door, the worse it became. By the time we stepped onto the marble entryway, it felt like something was watching us. Waiting. The doors opened before we could knock. An older man stood on the other side, dressed in a pristine butler's uniform. Tall, straight-backed, gray hair slicked neatly behind his ears, a trimmed mustache, and a polished monocle resting over one eye. He didn't introduce himself. Didn't need to. He gave a small, respectful nod and turned without a word. We followed. The mansion was silent. Not quiet, silent. Like sound itself didn't want to linger here. He led us down a long hallway and stopped at a set of heavy double doors. "The study," he said simply. Then he stepped aside. I pushed the doors open. The smell hit first. Burnt wood, charred leather. Something sharper underneath it, metallic almost. The room was destroyed. Blackened walls, scorched furniture. The desk at the center warped and cracked like it had tried and failed to survive. And the pressure, it slammed into me. Not like before. Worse, it felt like standing under a collapsing building, every inch of space pressing down at once. My breath hitched. Yeah, I muttered. That's bad. Cynthia stayed near the doorway. Smart. I stepped forward into the center of the room. My pulse was already picking up. I'd never handled a spontaneous combustion echo before. These weren't just unstable. They fought. Hard. I exhaled slowly and raised my hands. All right, I whispered. Echo cleanse. The world shifted. The charred ruin peeled away, replaced by something whole. Untouched, I stood in the same study, but alive. Warm light filtered through the windows. The desk was intact, papers neatly stacked. And behind it, I recognized him immediately. Board member, one of my father's investors. Old money, third generation, if I remembered right. He sat in his chair, flipping through documents with slow, practiced movements. Calm, controlled, normal. Then he stopped. His hand moved to his chest. A small motion, but wrong. His breathing hitched. Once, twice, steam began to rise from his skin. Thin at first, then thicker. His eyes widened. Panic. Real panic. No, he rasped under his breath. The temperature spiked. I felt it instantly. The air warped. Heat rolled off him in waves, distorting everything around him. The echo reacted. It saw me, and it didn't want to be cleansed. The pull began anyway. The moment I anchored myself, the filtration kicked in, dragging the corruption toward me. But this time it fought back. Hard. Heat slammed into me like a wall. My skin screamed as it hit, the sensation immediate and overwhelming. It wasn't just hot. It was invasive, like the heat was trying to get inside me. Blisters started forming along my arms. I clenched my teeth. Come on, I forced out. The black veins surged to life beneath my skin, crawling rapidly up my arms, wrapping around my chest, climbing toward my neck. Faster than before, stronger. The hatred hit next. Not clean, not simple, layered. Pressure, expectation, control, fear of losing everything. It poured into me like fire through broken glass. A few days ago, this would have killed me. No question. But something held. The flow wasn't overwhelming my entire system. It was focused, filtered. The sieve. It was working. Barely. The echo flared violently. The man's body erupting into a full blaze now. Flames tearing outward in a violent burst. The room twisted under the heat. I'm not done. The echo roared, voice breaking under the strain. I still have things to finish. Another wave hit. Stronger. My vision blurred. My legs trembled. I was reaching my limit. Just a little more. Something shifted. Deep inside. Not the sieve. Something else. The archive. I felt it. That golden presence. Watching. Waiting. The heat surged again, and this time, something answered. Not power, not yet, but recognition. The fire wasn't just pain anymore. It was structured, patterns, pressure building, then breaking. Heat rising, then collapsing inward. A system, a principle. My breath caught. I see it. The thought slipped out before I could stop it. The echo faltered, just for a second. That was enough. I pushed everything I had left. The pull intensified, the corruption finally breaking, tearing away from the burning form as it was dragged into me, filtered, broken down, contained. The flames collapsed. The room went still. And just like that, it was over. I dropped to my knees. The world snapped back to reality, the charred study, the suffocating air now. Quiet. Gone. My vision tunneled. My body felt heavy. Too heavy. That sucked, I muttered weakly. The last thing I felt was something new settling into place inside me. Not fully understood. Not named. But there. Waiting. Then, everything went black. My eyes snapped open. I jolted upright, the soul archive. Something was wrong immediately. The space wasn't still. Heat lingered in the air, faint but undeniable, like the aftermath of a fire that had no right existing here. I steadied myself, breathing slowly as my gaze lifted toward the center. The golden crystal stood where it always had, but the orb, it wasn't the same. It circled faster now, tighter. Its glow had shifted, gold-stained with a deep, pulsing red. Each rotation felt heavier, intentional, like it had changed. I took a cautious step closer. The air grew warmer, not enough to burn, but enough that my instincts tensed anyway. What did you become? I muttered under my breath. The moment I focused on it, something clicked. Not outside, inside. A sharp, precise shift in my mind. Resonance detected. Thermal pattern recorded. I froze. Thermal? The word didn't feel earned. It felt understood, like I'd always known it. I just hadn't had the language for it. The archive pulsed once in response. And then pain. It hit all at once. My entire body lit up like I was back in that room, flames crawling under my skin. My breath caught in my throat as the sensation tore through me, and just as suddenly I was gone. I gasped. My eyes flew open again, but this time, it wasn't the archive staring back at me. White ceiling, fluorescent lights, the sharp, sterile smell of antiseptic filled the air. A hospital. My body felt heavy, wrong. Bandages wrapped my arms, my chest, my face. The faint sting of burned cream clung to my skin, dull but constant. I shifted slightly. Pain flared immediately. Yeah, I rasped. That tracks. Movement to my side. I turned my head. Cynthia sat in a chair beside the bed, one leg crossed over the other, scrolling through her phone. Calm, composed, like she hadn't been sitting there for hours. Or days. Her eyes flicked up the moment I moved. Finally, she said, setting the phone aside. You're awake. Her voice was steady, but there was something under it. Tension. How long? I asked, my voice dry and rough. 3 days. I blinked slowly. 3. Severe burns, she said, standing. You're lucky you didn't cook yourself alive. She stepped closer, studying me again, not like before. Not clinical. Checking. You pulled through, she added more quietly. Her hand reached out, hesitating for just a second before she took mine, careful of the bandages. Thank you, Brian. That caught me off guard. I mean it, she said. You saved him. You saved us a situation. I gave a weak huff. You're paying me. That makes a job. Her expression didn't change. If anything, it tightened, right? For a moment, she just stood there, holding my hand. Then, how did you? She stopped. Her eyes narrowed slightly, like she was replaying something in her head. Then she shook it off. Never mind, she said quickly. It doesn't matter. That told me it absolutely did. But I didn't push. Not right now. She stepped back, regaining that composed, untouchable posture like nothing had slipped. The doctor said you're healing faster than expected, she continued. 2 more days, and you should be discharged." "Great," I muttered. "All hospital expenses have been handled," she added, "and your commission has already been transferred." That got my attention. She moved toward the door, pausing briefly. "I have business to attend to," she said. Then, softer, almost as an afterthought, "Take care of yourself, little brother." Then she left. The door clicked shut behind her. Silence settled over the room. I stared at the ceiling for a moment before reaching for my phone on the bedside table. The screen lit up. Balance updated, 10,000 credits. I let out a slow breath. "Yeah," I murmured. "That's more like it." I set the phone back down and leaned into the pillow, staring at nothing. 2 days off. No jobs. No pressure. Just rest. Except the faintest trace of heat still lingered under my skin. And somewhere deep in my mind, something had changed. I leaned back against the hospital bed and closed my eyes. The world slipped. The soul archive welcomed me in silence. The orb had settled, back to its slow, deliberate rotation around the golden crystal, like nothing had ever changed. Calm, controlled, but the room wasn't the same. My gaze shifted. Another crystal had appeared. It sat on the shelf with the others, but it didn't belong. It wasn't fully white. Thin, vein-like tendrils of dull red stretched across its surface, branching and curling like something alive beneath glass. I stepped closer. "Yeah, that's new." I reached out. The moment my fingers hovered near it, heat. Not burning, not yet, but present, pulsing, alive. I stopped. A subtle instinct tightened in my chest. Not fear, caution. I slowly pulled my hand back, eyes narrowing as I studied it instead. "You're not stable." The crystal pulsed once in response. I glanced around the archive. Nothing else had changed. The shelves, the void, the distant glow of the golden core. All of it exactly the same, except for this. I exhaled quietly and let the space fade. My eyes opened to the hospital ceiling. The antiseptic smell hit me again, sharp and grounding. I shifted slightly in the bed, the dull ache of my burns reminding me I was still very much in my body. And still healing. The first day passed slowly. Pain came in waves, deep, lingering, impossible to ignore. But underneath it, something else began to surface. Not thoughts, not memories, understanding. It came in fragments. Small, incomplete pieces that didn't quite form a whole. Like trying to recall something I'd never actually learned. Pressure, heat, containment. I didn't question it. I let it come. By the second day, the pain had dulled. Manageable, distant. Doctors moved in and out of the room, eventually removing the bandages. A healing mage followed, their hands glowing faintly as they worked, restoring damaged skin, smoothing what should have scarred. I barely paid attention, because the fragments hadn't stopped. They were connecting now, forming something coherent. That pull returned. I closed my eyes again. The archive answered. The crystal was still there, still pulsing, still wrong. But this time, I stepped closer without hesitation. The heat didn't push me away. It welcomed me. My fingers brushed its surface, and it clicked. Not a voice, not a message, a realization. Clear, precise, unavoidable. Heat builds, it gathers, and when it has nowhere to go, it doesn't fade. It breaks. My eyes snapped open. A sharp inhale tore into my lungs just as the door opened. "Mr. Jacobs?" A nurse stepped inside, a tablet in hand. "Your discharge papers are ready." I stared at her for a second longer than I should have before exhaling slowly, grounding myself back in reality. "Right," I muttered, but even as I swung my legs over the side of the bed, I could still feel it. Not pain, not anymore. Something else. A quiet, growing awareness sitting just beneath my surface. Here is the text with the excessive line breaks removed, consolidated into a more cohesive narrative flow, while maintaining your punchy, noir-inspired rhythm. I grabbed the metal railing and pushed myself upright. It should have been cold, but it wasn't. Warmth seeped into my palm, faint but unmistakable. I paused, glancing down at my hand before looking back at the nurse. "I'm ready," I said. She studied me for a second longer than necessary, as if she wanted to say something, but in the end, she only nodded and stepped aside. A few minutes later, I stepped out of the hospital. Fresh air filled my lungs as I inhaled deeply. The breeze was light, carrying the distant, familiar sense of the city, exhaust, food, and the heat rising off the pavement. The sun pressed gently against my skin, warm but not harsh. For a moment, it actually felt normal. I pulled my phone out. No notifications. No jobs. I looked up, scanning the street, and muttered, "Now what?" The answer came quickly when I looked down at myself. Same worn clothes. Same dull gray. Yeah, I thought, that's getting fixed. An hour later, I walked out of a small retail shop with a bag in hand. Nothing fancy, just a few clean outfits in darker tones, better fits, and a couple of basic household items I've been putting off. Normal life stuff. It felt strange, almost unnecessary. Back in my apartment, the door shut behind me with a hollow click. The space hadn't changed. It was still small, quiet, and mine. I put everything away, one item at a time, before dropping onto the couch. The cushions sank under my weight as I grabbed the remote and turned on the TV. Static gave way to the news. A sharply dressed reporter stood in front of a police barricade, her expression tight and controlled. Multiple reports confirm a series of disappearances across the city over the past week, she said. Authorities have now linked several recovered bodies to what they believe is a single perpetrator. Images flashed across the screen, blurred crime scenes, flashing lights covered stretchers. No official details have been released regarding cause of death, but sources suggest a consistent pattern. I leaned forward. Pattern. With investigators urging the public to remain cautious while the situation develops. The screen shifted back to the anchor desk. I exhaled, leaning back. Yeah, that's not good. Something about it sat wrong. Not just crime, not just violence, but the pattern. That word stuck, and a faint, warm stir to my chest. Unrelated, probably. Then ping. My phone buzzed. New request. District 4. Alley behind Marcus's restaurant, 6th Street. Deceased male. Cause. Alcohol poisoning. Echo risk. Low. I stared at it for a second. Low risk. Easy job. Routine. I tapped accept. Guess that answers that, I muttered. I stood, pulling on one of the new hoodies, clean, dark, and unfamiliar in a way that made me hesitate before grabbing my keys and heading for the door. As I stepped outside, the warmth lingered again. Faint, quiet, waiting. The alley behind the restaurant was exactly what I expected. Narrow, damp, and smelling of rotting food, stale alcohol, and something worse underneath. A flickering light buzzed overhead, casting uneven shadows across the brick walls. A body lay slumped near a dumpster, half covered with a thin sheet. No police, no crowd, just another quiet cleanup. I stepped closer and paused. The air felt wrong. Not heavy, not violent, but not clean either. That's new, I muttered. I crouched, eyes narrowing as I focused. For a low-risk echo, there was something building here, not outward but inward, like pressure with nowhere to go. My hand lifted slowly, heat stirring faintly beneath my skin. Let's see what you do.